Okay, SpongeBob Season 9. I bet all of you are expecting me to hate on the season because now we're getting to the, modern SpongeBob seasons. But to be honest, I kind of like Season 9. Starting with the season is... Starting with the season is when they added the new crisp looking and brighter contrast to the animation, and I think it looks great, by the way. Season 9 was kind of a rough start for me with a few beginning episodes. Extreme Spots and Squirrel Record were a weird group of episodes. Extreme Spots was boring to me because we've already seen so many episodes similar to this. These cool group of people who everyone loves, they're famous. SpongeBob and Patrick also admire them and have a longing desire to do what they do. SpongeBob and Patrick embarrass themselves in front of them when they try to do something cool until they do something that the famous people or person can't do, and then they're like, wow, yeah, SpongeBob and Patrick, I guess they are really cool, and then like the episode ends. Like, we've never seen any episodes like that in other episodes, right guys? Squirrel Record isn't necessarily humorous or that interesting of an episode. It's pretty boring. Then we got New Toy.
Here, you might need this.
No. Then we've got Yeti Crabs. I hate all of these episodes with dangerous creatures they add. They add them in every single modern SpongeBob episode. Like, okay, look, Sea Bear is the episode that started it all. The episode that made future SpongeBob episodes add a bunch of dangerous creatures. But Sea Bear's a masterpiece because the writers kept the sea monster mysterious. And half the time, you didn't even know if the sea bear was real. Squidward might have been right. The sea bear might have not been real. In modern SpongeBob episodes, they either make it completely predictable that the creature's real, or the creature just abruptly reveals itself and starts destroying everything left and right. Sea Bear also had pretty good tension that could possibly scare 4 to 5-year-olds. Dangerous creatures in modern SpongeBob don't have any of that, which just makes it boring. Squid +1. I love it when Squidward's a jerk, but in this episode, he's just way too much. This episode was really, really painful to watch. Married to Money.
You may now kiss the bride.
I don't know why this episode is a thing. Okay, stop. We're gonna get to the next episode now. Pineapple Invasion.
Hey, this snail litter tastes better than pineapple. Oh! Oh!
I gotta say, there are just 20 episodes I just don't like in Season 9. However, despite my opinion with these 20 episodes, there are like 18 other episodes I absolutely love. And yes, there are tons of episodes in Season 9. I don't know why there needs to be this many episodes. Couldn't they just like take half of the episodes in the season and put it into Season 10? Why does there need to be 26 episodes in the season? Well, okay, look. The episodes I loved in the season are License to Milkshake, Patrick Man, Squid's Defense, Jailbreak, SpongeBob You're Fired. This is definitely what it looks like in middle school, unfortunately. SpongeBob versus the Goo. It's a pretty good adventure episode. What's Eating Patrick? SpongeBob Long Pants. It's a pretty good episode. It's hilarious. Larry's Gym, also an hilarious episode. Sold. Okay, I like this episode only because SpongeBob and Patrick are crafting their own house, and this is something I always wanted to do. I'm into crafting stuff, but I just can't have the mindset to do it. Lame or Fortune, I guess Sandy's Nightmare, it's pretty interesting and pretty creative, but I don't know why they need to have people licking Patrick's back and Patrick biting his own belly, but okay, whatever floats the writer's boat, I guess. Mall Girl Pearl, you don't see SpongeBob once in this episode, but sometimes you do just need a break from SpongeBob, and this episode was great. Even when there weren't really any SpongeBob characters except mainly Pearl, it still felt like a SpongeBob episode, so that's what I really liked. Snail Mail, very creatively thought out episode. This episode has a lot of slapstick, but that's what makes it great, because the slapstick actually makes sense and has a reason to be there. It's not just random nonsense. They also put irony with the slapstick, and like I said before, it works great. It's a fun episode, and the ending is my favorite.
Phew, we ran out of gas.
Oh, don't worry, I've got this. Yep.
Food Con Castaways is one of my favorite episodes in this season. It's a really fun adventure episode. The episode also has really huge tension too, that really got me intrigued. It's a really great episode. The humor's pretty funny in it too. Bulletin Board is also an episode I love. People say that this episode is a metaphor for all social media apps, but it's clearly just a metaphor for Twitter.
Not on my bulletin board.
Whoa, dude, what's with the censorship?
This episode is very well done. It has some funny humor in it. This episode's about SpongeBob placing a bulletin board on the wall of the Krusty Krab. He claims he put it up there for the community, so people could post notes on the bulletin board sharing their opinion of the Krusty Krab. It was all fun and games until... Shut up! It was all fun and games when everyone gave compliments until one meanie put a note trashing the Krusty Krab. That also made other people trash the Krusty Krab and make fun of other people. It turned out the person who first put something bad on the bulletin board was Patrick the whole time, and apparently he wanted to give compliments to the Krusty Krab, but he just worded all of his posts so terribly that it seemed like he was saying insults. I mean, I do like the ending of the episode. It was a pretty good plot twist, but you'd have to admit, it'd be a lot more interesting if the whole time Bubble Bass put the mean post-it notes on the bulletin board, and then the post mentioned something about, I don't know, complaining about the pickles, and then SpongeBob and Bubble Bass could duke it out again. It'd be like another pickles episode. I think that would be great. That was a wasted opportunity. But overall, it's still a great episode. The Little Yellow Book. I gotta say, I'm just gonna be real, I love this episode. I would say loving this episode is an unpopular opinion, but pretty much half the stuff I talk about on this channel apparently is unpopular. Like, I thought when I made this SpongeBob Season 12 was the worst season video, I thought everyone would be for me, but they were actually against me, so, yeah. But anyways, listen, as you know or don't know, people despise this episode. I mean, they hate it. The Little Yellow Book, everyone hates this.
What an awful, awful episode. Squidward taking the liberty of reading SpongeBob's diary is bad enough as is, but seeing the whole town joining in on making fun of him for no reason other than to ridicule him just really rubs me the wrong way.
Some people literally placed this episode as the worst episode in Season 9. So, there's just pretty much one reason, though, why everyone hates this episode, and it's just because of SpongeBob's hurt feelings. Look, as an unsympathetic person like me and Squidward, I could care less about SpongeBob's feelings. I mean, do I feel bad for SpongeBob sometimes? Yeah, Gary come home. I mean, that hit me hard. But in episodes like April Fools, I was rooting for Squidward the whole time, because you gotta admit, SpongeBob can be so annoying at times. So when it comes to an episode where Squidward gets his revenge by completely embarrassing SpongeBob in front of everyone, I kind of have a warm spot for that. I mean, if you become an a-hole like me and just forget about SpongeBob's feelings, it's actually a really good episode. That's kind of the one thing people have a problem in this episode, is SpongeBob's hurt feelings. I guess another complaint in this episode is that Squidward and Patrick break character, quote-unquote, in this episode. I do not know what they mean when they say that. A lot of people who hate this episode say that Squidward was too much of a jerk in this episode. I can sort of agree with that statement. Being a jerk is Squidward's character, but sometimes in episodes like Squid Plus One, he's just way too much. Like, each time he made a new friend, he just can't help but insulting them right after. That was just really painful to watch. But you have to remember that Squidward hates SpongeBob. He despises him, remember? So heavily embarrassing SpongeBob in front of everyone by reading his diary out loud is right up his alley. And I can totally empathize with Squidward on that part. I know there's gonna be people who are gonna say,
well, Squidward isn't supposed to be a total jerk in SpongeBob. There's like the pizza delivery episode where he stuck up for SpongeBob and was actually being good to him for once. And
yeah, okay, look, okay, I get it. Pizza delivery is one of those rare episodes where Squidward sticks up for SpongeBob after an a-hole customer yells at him. It's true that Squidward is actually being a good person to SpongeBob for once. But an episode where Squidward reacts lighthearted to SpongeBob is supposed to be a very rare occasion. Also, even if they had Squidward apologize, it would literally just be a copy of April Fools, where Squidward embarrasses SpongeBob in front of everyone and then apologizes to him afterwards. Like, I like how this episode tricks you into thinking that it would be exactly like April Fools, but then Squidward in the end just doesn't even care, pulls out his personal diary, and reads it in front of everyone, not apologizing at all. I think it's really funny how Squidward thinks it's worth it to just read his diary, even when everyone ridicules him for it. The whole town literally hates and screams at him 24/7, and his response is just
Morons.
It's just, you gotta love Squidward in this episode, man. He just inspires me to be a better person, okay? My favorite episode in Season 9 would have to be Goodbye Krabby Patty. This episode is kind of like Selling Out, the episode in Season 4, where Mr. Krabs sells the Krusty Krab to some other guy, and then the new owner figures out a way to make Krabby Patties easier by creating this machine that artificially creates Krabby Patties in 2 seconds. But then the customers figured out that the Krabby Patties were made of whatever the hell this is, And then, this episode is pretty similar to that. It's about Mr. Krabs only wanting to sell frozen Krabby Patties, though, causing him to prohibit the real Krabby Patties. He does this so Krabby Patties can be made faster, and so he doesn't have to pay SpongeBob and Squidward anymore. The way he successfully sells frozen Krabby Patties is by signing this really sketchy contract by this really sketchy guy. Later on, customers finally realized that the Krabby Patties were made of sand the whole time, causing the Krusty Krab's revenue to sink drastically. That forces Mr. Krabs to reoccur back to the normal Krabby Patty formula. So yeah, this episode is pretty similar to Selling Out, although like I mentioned before, I don't have any problem with the writers taking inspiration from earlier episodes. As long as they don't completely copy the episode, it's well done in execution and has some originality to it, which this episode does have. This episode's really well done. SpongeBob, Patrick, Squidward, and Mr. Krabs are kind of like the main characters in this episode. The reason I'm saying this is because all of the characters have their own character plot, which is really interesting considering you don't see a whole lot of that in SpongeBob episodes. Since Mr. Krabs let everyone go, Squidward tries to use that as an advantage to finally pursue his dreams, although we all know that it kind of doesn't work out, so he's forced to work at the Krusty Krab again. Patrick somehow became a star all because he acted in a frozen Krabby Patties commercial. I guess he has a gift in percussion and acting as well. So his character plot is him becoming a star, although all he has time for is to shoot commercials, getting interviewed, and paparazzi's constantly asking him questions. That made Patrick never hang out with SpongeBob anymore because now he's some popular actor, until the end where he retires being an actor so he can finally resume hangouts with SpongeBob. SpongeBob's character plot is just having his usual life flipped upside down. Can't hang out with Patrick anymore, can't fry cook, and gets fired. All because of his idea in the beginning of the episode of having frozen Krabby Patties. I look at Mr. Krabs as the main antagonist in this episode. You also have this character who's probably supposed to be the side antagonist. His character is basically the stereotypical shady businessman, so I kind of like this character. This episode overall is just great. There's multiple different settings in this episode too. Half of the episode, most of the characters are shown in locations we've never seen before, and they still make it seem like I'm watching SpongeBob. A lot of the episodes in other seasons really lack that, but again, I'll get into that later. Overall, Season 9 is a pretty mixed bag to me. There were episodes I loved, but also episodes that are extremely boring and that I hate, so I'll give Season 9 a 6.5 out of 10.